Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We'd also like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi, which we have amended to include Gary Lineker's sacking by the BBC. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. Desperate to save his failing F1 career, Lando Norris performed his last tango in Singapore as he barged his teammate out of the way. The subsequent discord that has now broken out between the teammates has overshadowed the team clinching the constructors' title. However, despite Lando's desperation, we contend that his career at McLaren is coming to an end as he will be unable to overcome the 22-point deficit to his teammate. Consequently, we would like to document what we believe is his deserved and imminent downfall, which was signposted after Abu Dhabi 2021. To recall, it is a matter of public record that during the cool-down lap in Abu Dhabi, and in the immediate aftermath, he did not approve of what had happened. We have provided some of his documented comments as the backdrop to this video. We have also done several videos showing how after the then team principal Zak Brown got to him and his teammate Daniel Ricciardo, they changed their tune and became the leading advocates for defending Michael Masi and gaslighting the robbery. We concluded that Zak took the decision to defend Masi and instruct his drivers to do same, because he was compelled to do so by his fellow American, John Malone. In exchange, he was promised that McLaren would be rewarded with a championship-winning car, and the expectation was that one of his drivers would then go on to become world champion. This expectation is probably what informed Lando and Daniel to start defending Masi so vociferously. The only possible reason John could have made such a promise was that he had developed a system where he could get the FIA to give his chosen team an unfair technical advantage and make decisions during races that favored the selected team or driver. John was able to lock down his dastardly plan, because as a media mogul with extensive influence over the lamestream media, he was able to suppress any criticism and compel them all to gaslight his profit-induced malevolence. It is very sad that this is what F1 has devolved to. A free press is supposed to be the main defense against tyranny, but the lamestream media have abandoned this role for a mess of pottage, to uphold Malone's tyranny. But here's the thing, they cannot succeed if those individuals in the front line stand firm. So, if the likes of Daniel, Lando, and other F1 drivers had stood firm, like Gary Lineker's colleagues had done when the BBC first came for him, Malone's tyranny would have collapsed and F1 would be in a better place today. Instead, they are all jockeying for the position to inherit his patronage, in total disregard of Pastor Martin Niemöller's famous and deeply moving cautionary poem about the dangers of silence in the face of tyranny. But when all else fails, natural justice in the form of karma comes for whom the bell tolls. Dietrich Mateschitz, the Red Bull billionaire who championed the desecration of the sport, passed away less than a year after Abu Dhabi. Michael Masi is gone, with his reputation in tatters, as all efforts to save him as a show of Malone's strength failed. McLaren sacked Daniel within a year of Abu Dhabi, so he never got the chance to contest for the title in a championship-winning car. He will go down in history as the driver who could have achieved something if he had not been sabotaged by Red Bull, who favored Max instead. After his departure, Lando automatically assumed the position of McLaren's lead driver, with the full expectation that he would become the world champion whenever the deal with Malone was consummated. To this end, he willingly allowed himself to become the horse that was used to stalk Lewis Hamilton, as he routinely denigrated him at every opportunity until the infamous cool-down room incident in Hungary last year. The backlash was so ferocious that he was forced to issue a public apology, and ever since then he has been cravenly complimentary about the goat that he had been stalking. Lando has been and will forever be haunted by his outburst then, suggesting that all it takes to win a world championship is to have the fastest car. 2024 was the year that Malone rewarded McLaren with an FIA-enabled championship-winning car, and Lando was expected to dethrone Max, the monster that F1 had created and were now looking to depose because his toxicity was destroying the sport. Malone compelled the likes of BBC's Andrew Benson and Sky's Martin Brundle amongst others to hype Lando up as a genuine title challenger. But unfortunately for him and them, that was the year that karma started catching up with the misguided upstart. He does not, and will never have what it takes to be a true champion like the GOAT he was supposed to dethrone. It's one thing performing well as a support driver to Daniel, it's quite another thing delivering when the expectation is all on your shoulders. 2024 was the year that Max, who he had publicly acknowledged as a busy mate when he was defending the title that Michael had stolen from Lewis to gift to the Belgian Dutch, did to the Belgian Brit what F1 had bred him to do to Lewis. Max was only doing what he had been bred to do to a championship rival, as Lando and McLaren were left ruining their roles in enabling such conduct. When Lando and Andrea were left spitting feathers in the immediate aftermath of the first incident at the Austrian GP last year, as they shamelessly and without any sense of irony, publicly berated the FIA for enabling Max's recklessness because they had failed to properly sanction him when he was doing same to Lewis, Zach was quick to call them to order, and Lando had to embark on a humiliating public backdown. Undeterred, Max doled out more of the same several months later in Mexico, as Lando was again left spitting feathers. So, instead of storming to a prearranged world title, Lando set the world record for losing the title with the widest margin ever while driving the fastest championship-winning car, as his busy mate became his nemesis. Now, with all the crap that Malone has compelled the lamestream media to amplify about Max's chances of overhauling Lando's teammate by winning the last 9 races in his newly FIA-enabled supercar, it is clear that they have given up on the Belgian Brit. Otherwise, Malone's lamestream media would be awash with stories of the exciting title fight between the two McLaren teammates. But they know that Lando cannot be relied upon to give the grandstanding push that Malone needs to sell F1 to an overindulged American audience, as we explained in our previous video. Sadly, instead of celebrating Oscar for his hard work and talent in putting Malone's villains to the sword, they are trying to resuscitate Max, just because Malone feels that this is his best option of selling the sport to those whose minds can be easily manipulated. After all their mid-season machinations, Lando is fast on his way to becoming just as unpopular as his busy mate, while McLaren are on theirs to become just as unpopular as Red Bull. The writing is on the wall, that should Lando fail to win the world title for the second consecutive season while driving the fastest car, he will be out of McLaren for good. He will go down in history as the driver who twice lost the world title while driving the fastest car, and set the 2 worst records for doing so to boot. Despite McLaren and the FIA again sabotaging Oscar in favor of Lando, as they allowed the Brit to get away with barging the Aussie out of the way at the start, he was only able to close the gap by 3 points. They are continuing with their ill-fated attempt to hold the Aussie back on Malone's orders. This has not gone down well with him, and one would imagine his supporters, especially those down under. This will all end in tears for McLaren and the FIA because Lando does not have what it takes to sustain a battle or overcome a 22-point deficit. While Oscar has shown that not only does he have what it takes to overcome Max and Lando, going forward he will most definitely be refusing any team orders that could possibly disadvantage him in the title race. Given that Oscar has finished the race 22 points ahead of Lando and 63 ahead of Max, he is very much in the driving seat. Max now needs to score an average of more than 10 points over Oscar in the remaining 6 races, so the wishful thinking to keep his title hopes alive on the part of Malone and the lamestream media is fading away faster than Lando's mettle. Regardless of what happened in Singapore today, Lando will eventually fold under the pressure of expectation and McLaren will have to dump him. What a sad or deserving downfall that would be for one who allowed himself to be used as the horse to stalk the goat. Has Lando done enough in Singapore to save his F1 career? Let us have your opinion in the comments. Forza Ferrari.